The James Show Podcast.
My next story is something you're already familiar with, and now that you've had a couple of days to digest it, I want to hear from you. I know you don't call radio shows often, if ever, but I think you'd be valuable today because this has me so mad. This jet ski killing on Memorial Day weekend, and it's not just an 18-year-old lost her life totally unnecessarily, and any death for any family of someone at that age. It's just going to be a big scar on your heart for the rest of your life. It never goes away. And I know there's going to be an empty seat at Thanksgiving, an empty seat at Christmas, an empty stocking hung on the mantle. But it's not just the fact that a family lost a child. It's the circumstances around it. And we always talk about, this could have been prevented if only X, Y, Z. But here's another one that could have been prevented if we just enforced our own laws. If we didn't send representatives to go up there and pass laws, and then future representatives decide, I'm just not going to enforce that. Or, I'm just going to unilaterally create an app and give them asylum status. Where was all the due process people then when Joe Biden was handing out asylum status? He didn't go through Congress for that. Isn't that interesting? That sort of selective concern about the constitutionality of the head of state. When Joe Biden, did these people, all the Haitians that were supposedly eating dogs and cats and geese out of the park in Ohio, did they all have their due process when they came in here, or do they just get thrown on a plane? Come on in. Why does everyone have to get due process just on the way out, but not on the way in? Selective enforcement. That's insane. Did y'all sue? Saying, no, the president doesn't have the power to just unilaterally, with the wave of a pen, grant all these people asylum status? No concern then, but there's concern now when we want to send them home. So this is another one of those. This is like a Lake and Riley situation. This is a Jocelyn Nungery situation. It's not quite as malicious as rape and murder, but the end result is still the same. We lost one of our neighbors. A family lost a child to one of these people that was just let in clear violation of the law. WFAA has the latest update. This is from last night.
Police say the arrest captured on doorbell cameras came after more than 900 tips from the public and the use of facial recognition software that told police exactly who they were looking for. Decalyn Alejandra Gonzalez in witness pictures and videos from Lake Grapevine, and her alleged accomplice, Michael Coelho Perozzo.
That scene showed how the community came together to try to do what they could to help when they saw something horrible happen.
Investigators now say that after the jet ski collision at Lake Grapevine that killed 18-year-old Ava Moore on a kayak, Coelho Perozzo admits he did try to help Gonzalez escape. A second doorbell camera captured them at an apartment complex 3 miles away after a second hit and run, this one in a car, and then fleeing on foot again. And investigators believe it's obvious why.
We're Venezuelan nationals in the country illegally.
Gonzalez is held on a charge of manslaughter, Perozzo on misdemeanors, but enough to keep them both locked up until Immigration and Customs Enforcement gets them next. Governor Abbott tweeted this in response: "Welcome to Texas, here's your death penalty." But her best friend at the U.S. Air Force Prep Academy told me this.
Ava would not want anyone to have anger towards her, and so I just keep reminding myself that.
And Ava Moore's family, while asking for privacy in the difficult days ahead, wrote, "This is also an opportunity for our beautiful little girl to continue to impact our community. Out of this tragedy, God will make good, and that can only be accomplished through forgiveness." In Dallas, I'm Kevin Reese.
All right, about had it with this. Here's a new idea. What do you think of this? Want to run this by you? You give me a nod. If you're here illegally and you commit a crime, whatever the punishment is supposed to be, whatever the punishment is written under law, double it. If this is just going to be counted as a manslaughter and she's only up for 2 to 20 years, how about at least 4 to 40 years? How about we actually enforce the law? How about if we have anyone who's not supposed to be here, anyone who is illegally in the United States, they get deported? Is that hard? Because that's not what we do now. Half the time they just let them go. You saw or maybe you saw it. I played you the audio of the body cam footage of Abrego Garcia being pulled over in Tennessee, trafficking 8 ladies from state to state, from Maryland to St. Louis. They knew he was illegal at the time. They knew the people that were in the truck in the van were illegal at the time. They just let it go because it was too much of a hassle. ICE wasn't going to pick them up anyway or whatever the excuse is. That stops. Just here's the new rule. You know, like drill, baby, drill. How about deport, baby, deport? Whether they're in a school or they're at work or they're in a factory or they're in the kitchen behind your favorite restaurant or they go to the hospital or they're going to court. They're tricked into going to court. No, get them wherever they are. Just go get them. Start deporting them. If you get caught, the penalties double. But in the meantime, you're going to serve that whole sentence before we deport you. You're going to serve that double sentence. It's not going to be time off for good behavior. If we run out of room, up and Gitmo. You have to make the idea of coming to America illegally worse than the prospect of staying in a third world home country. It's too good. We've made it too good. We've made it too easy. You have illegals that are coming here, skirting the law, not following the rules, jumping in front of legal immigrants who are doing the right thing, paying their way, doing the paperwork, following the law. And they have such a good life that they're out on the lake on a Memorial Day weekend on a jet ski. Were you on a jet ski this weekend? I wasn't. So they live this fantastic life. These criminals who are not only running free, they're flaunting it. Let's go jet skiing on Memorial Day weekend. We have to make life a little bit tougher for these people. I mean, they're acting like this is an awesome vacation because compared to where they're from, it is. And until we start really punishing these people and really putting consequences on their action and just really, we don't even have to get Byzantine. Just enforce the existing laws. Until we do that, don't expect it to stop. There's not the incentive to come here illegally is greater than the disincentive of getting caught here illegally. And until that happens, don't expect it to stop. I mean, it's nice if we built the wall and we've kind of stopped some of those crossings there, but they'll find a way. Hell, they'll probably start renting submarines next month. And this jet ski homicides really got me worked up a little bit. Does it make you mad to know that we have another family lost a child for someone that shouldn't have been here in the first place? And we've got to start disincentivizing this. And I think a good way to do it is if you're here illegally and you get caught and convicted of a crime, whatever the normal sentence is, it should just multiply to 2, maybe even 3, maybe 10. But we have to make the prospect of coming here illegally worse than the prospect of staying in their home country. And you got to understand, I don't know if you've been to other countries, but a lot of times when you get off the plane and you get away from the resort and you start driving around town, you're like, whoa, this is your country? Holy crap, I thought that was just on TV. Can we go back to the airport now? I want to go back to Texas, like, now. You have palm fronds for your roof? That's not a goof. That's not just some cutesy little thing you're making as a cabana for your pool in the backyard. Your house has palm fronds for a roof. Jesus. So I think that's a good way to disincentivize people coming here is jack up the penalties. And if you are going to come here, you are going to come here illegally, keep your damn head down. If you are in such an affluent, great position that you get to go jet skiing on Memorial Day weekend on Lake Grapevine, you're definitely not going to be buzzing people and causing people problems or harassing other folks. You're not even going to come close to it. Why? Because you know so-and-so's friend that got locked up and they're in Gitmo now. 800-288-9227. Terry in Grandview, you're on WBAP. What you got?
Hey, James, I got a couple points to make. I'll try to make it quick. First of all, if you come over here and you're illegal and you worked here illegal and you bought things and you own a lot of things like maybe a jet ski or whatever, and you cause harm to an entity or to a person, everything you have should be seized and sold and given to the entity that you damaged.
I think we still do that through civil lawsuits.
Yeah, without a lawsuit. Everything ought to be seized. If you're caught and you're illegal, and, you know, when I go to the lake all the time, I see tons of them. People say, hey, no, they're illegal. Trust me. There'll be 30 of them in an 18-man boat with no life jackets, no anything. And, you know, I'm fearing for them, let alone they don't know no boat rules, no boating rules. I'd like to know where this young lady got this jet ski. Was it rented or did she buy it? Or did she own it?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was rented, but I have no way of knowing.
Then
we'll find out.
ID. That's why states should not be handing out IDs like cans.
Well, yeah, you're making some good points there. We've got to turn off the magnet that's bringing people here. We've made life way too good for them. And do you realize, thank you very much, Terry in Grandview, do you realize the number one problem we have in all the incentives that are drawing illegal immigrants here? Number one is awesome jobs, like an income. You go to work and you get paid more than $3 a day. Like $3 a day, haha, he's being funny. No, what do you think they make in the jungles in the Yucatan Peninsula? Yeah, they don't make a whole lot. So coming here, dude, streets are lined with gold. If you make $7 an hour, this is amazing. But that's only half of the magnet that's pulling them here. The other, this is a hard truth that a lot of people need to digest. The other one is socialism. What little socialism we have in our economy is what's killing you. What's affecting you with illegal immigration. The reason why the government can force you to pay for the education of illegal immigrant children is that you've allowed socialized schools. If we didn't have public schools, that couldn't be forced down your throat. If it was only private schools, they couldn't make you pay for that against your will. But now they can, because you've given up the ideological battleground on, well, we should have, important industries should remain privatized. We're not going to go down the socialist route. Well, now you're eating it. The reason why government can force you to pay for the health care of illegal immigrants is that you've allowed socialized medicine in the form of Medicaid and other programs. The reason why government can force you to pay for the food, the housing, disability checks, maybe even retirement checks through Social Security of all these illegal immigrants is that you've allowed all this socialized charity, food stamps, public housing, Section 8, disability checks, Social Security. Socialism is the reason why illegal immigrants are so painful to you. Socialism is why your tax dollars are going to pay for all these people who shouldn't even be here in the first place, instead of roads and bridges and other things that you want it to go for. The number one reason illegal immigrants are a pain to you isn't even the illegal immigrants. It's the socialism. How much nicer would your schools be if they didn't have to spend all this money on people who aren't supposed to be here anyway? How much cheaper would your doctor bill be if it didn't have to cover you and all the other people in the emergency room who got free care before you? How much easier would it be to get in school? How much easier would it be to get in Harvard, 800-288-9227. Randy and Richardson, you're on WBAP. Your thoughts?
I think that doubling the punishment is good, but I think you need to put them on a chain gang and have them work. And I would not rule out public execution for certain things.
Well, I'm generally in favor of public execution, not because I'm barbaric, but because it has the deterrent effect. And, throughout history.
I'm not barbaric. I think it's a good deterrent.
No, I don't think it's barbaric. We will be accused of being barbaric. And so I'm just kind of preemptively answering some of the critics there. And you know what? You're not wrong. You're not wrong. And I'm not saying if the legal immigrants that are already here, if we lock down all these other problems, that we won't have any issues with illegal immigrants. But we could at least turn down the magnet that's bringing them here. Why do we give them free education for their children or free health care for them? How many of them are getting some of our government charities, the Section 8, the food stamps, the public housing? Some of them are getting disability. Older ones are getting Social Security. Can we turn some of that off? Because I think that's a lot of people's number one complaints. You get accused of being racist for not wanting illegal immigrants here. I think we're all pretty much on board. We don't care what color they are. They're costing us money. We have to wait in line behind them at the emergency room. Our kids' schools are being flooded with people who shouldn't be here, who haven't been paying into the system, who can't even speak the language, and it's kind of disrupting the prepaid government monopoly you've all forced us into. And one of the big problems with illegal immigration is socialism, period. Can we turn that off? Maybe she wouldn't have come here in the first place. Maybe the guy that helped her escape wouldn't have been here in the first place if we didn't have all these great incentives. And on top of that, let's just start deporting them. I don't mean like, if they've committed another crime and they've gone through their full complement of due process hearings, then maybe after a few gavel swings, we can think about deporting them. No, if you're here and you're illegal, just put them on a bus, go. We'll drop you off at Nuevo Laredo and just turn the bus around. Let Mexico figure it out. What would you do? 800-288-9227. This is RL in Salina. You're on WBAP. What do you think?
Well, I'm in Grapevine now, but I appreciate your comments. I've been listening to you for a little bit. I kind of got an idea what you stand for and your principles and things. And I think and you're probably 25 years younger than I am, maybe 30. I grew up here. I can remember when Reagan, same thing happened to Reagan. The liberals said, if you just let us have this many, we won't do this anymore, and then they screwed him. This idea, what happened the other day on Lake Grapevine, there's a lot of deaths on Lake Grapevine. I don't know if people know that or not, but there's like above average deaths on Lake Grapevine as opposed to Lake Louisville or whatever. They're not afraid. They're not afraid. They come here, and I have Mexican friends. I appreciate the Mexican heritage, If I meet you, I understand what that means. It don't just mean my family. That means my soul, my everything. I get it, and I appreciate the Mexican culture. However, when they come here and they get all this free stuff, they get a sense of bravado that they don't let go of, and then they don't get afraid, and then they do stupid things, and then they kill people with their cars, or they kill people with their jet skis, or they just get drunk and kill people, and we see it, and they're not afraid because they can't be tracked, most of them. Now, these people got caught because somebody had a phone and taped it, and they were able to follow them, and they got them. That's good. But a lot of times that doesn't happen that way. So what has happened is what Rush Limbaugh said 10 or 12 years ago. The wussification of America is what's going on right now. We're too dadgum busy. We don't want to pay attention. We listen to guys like you, and we love it. We get all full of ourselves. That's great. That's the way I am. That's what I am. And we don't do a damn thing about it. We don't say anything, and we're afraid that we're going to be called racist. I don't care what people think of me. I'm a sixth-generation Texan. I don't care what people think about me.
So what would you do? What would you change to lessen this problem?
I would do exactly what you said just a minute ago. I'd start. I go on job sites every day. I can tell the INS. I can tell all of them, and they know where they're at. We could start deporting. We could deport out of the state of Texas every day. We could deport 10,000 a day. Easy.
I always thought, listen, if we wanted to get serious about it, we would just go to the back of every restaurant in North Texas and start there. We would go to the pad of every house that's being built in a subdivision,
right,
and we would start there. But we're not serious about it. We're not serious, and I don't know how many people have to die before we get serious.
We are until it affects us immediately. Even the liberals, these people, these socialists that you're talking about, they get real serious about it. They want something done yesterday when something happens to them. It's got to be personal.
Yeah.
And we should be taking it personal because this is our country. This is a sovereign country that's being destroyed by some people that don't give a rat's you know what about.
Right. All good points, RL. I agree. Thank you, sir. Let's go to Don in Burleson. You're on WBAP. What do you think, Don?
Yeah, I can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I agree with you and I remember you said that you should double the penalty for when they get caught. But I think, James, we should triple it because, one count of murder for just a murder, one count of murder for doing it while being here illegally, and another count, this would be the triple, for the victim and the families.
Okay, I'm convinced. Triple it. Good. I like that. No, it really is that easy. Thank you, Don in Burleson. He's very persuasive, that Don. Let's go to Joe in the GBC. That's Gun Barrel City for you people from the big city. What do you think, Joe?
Well, it starts with a lot littler problems. Our insurance in this country is through the roof, and it's through the roof because if you have an accident with somebody who doesn't have insurance and they don't have a driver's license, and even if it's your fault and not theirs, the insurance company still pays the claim when they shouldn't have even been there in the first place.
Well, see, now you're tickling my libertarian sensibilities where I'm against forcing people to buy stuff. I'm against forcing people to engage in commerce. And you're like, well, what about insurance? If you have a car, you're forced to buy insurance. Because that was the one of the points that was made during Obamacare. It's like, you don't have the right to force me to buy insurance. Well, the government has the right to force you to buy auto insurance. Well, it shouldn't. And that is such a fantasy that we have where, well, we made the government force everyone to buy it. So I only have to buy liability. If someone hits me, then I'm covered. Wrong. It didn't even solve the problem. You now have taken on another restriction of your liberty, and you didn't even solve the negative consequences it was intended to address. Congratulations. You're dumb. The question is, how many people do you know are on the shot? Are you on the shot? Is your spouse on the shot? Is your mom on the shot? Is your old college friend who just slowly put on a little bit of weight, they on the shot? You probably know 10 people on the shot. You probably know 20 people on the shot. You just don't know half of them are taking it yet. However, hasn't it been your experience in your entire life where some weight loss miracle drug pops up, gets real popular, seems to work, everyone's using it, celebrated, and a couple years later, there's some class action lawsuit because it was putting a hole in their heart valve, or now you got to get like a pig's kidney or something weird like that. And, I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop with some of these other shots. I hope it works out great. But something tells me in about a year or so, we're going to have a bunch of people that, I don't know, have like Stegosaurus plates growing out of their back or something. Whatever the side effect is, if it exists, it's coming. Let's ask Patrick Moore. He's a benefits consultant at Protect. Now, I know you're not into the side effect portion of this. Let's talk about how so many people can afford this, number one. I hear it's kind of expensive, Patrick.
It's super expensive, and I love how you framed all of that, man. So it is super expensive. I mean, the $1,000 price tag per month is probably on the low end for most of this stuff. So wait, on the shot.
So I've heard different prices from different people. What is the range of cost that you have seen on a monthly basis, Patrick?
So the reason you have heard a range is because this prescription drug thing in general in this country is pretty whacked out. So the range is in between $350 all the way to $1,300 a month.
Why such a stretch there?
So that's because for the most part, most people get their prescription drugs or their, the GLP-1 medications through their employer. And employers get their prescription drugs by organizations called pharmacy benefit managers.
Oh, those guys. Yeah. Okay.
Those guys. Yeah. People are finally starting to really understand who those people are, but they are the ones behind the scenes. And so we don't just get straight prices in this country. We are given like the retail price is what they show you, but they buy it for wholesale.
Why is this stuff so
wholesale price?
Sorry. What's so expensive about it to even get it to the $300 level?
It's in demand. It's in demand right now. I mean, that there's lots of compounders out there selling it for significantly less. And then you can also buy different versions of the shot for $50 in India. So that's a different conversation.
Yikes. What do you think about that? Hey, I've got to hook up with a dude in Mumbai. Should I be getting my GLP-1s from him?
It's a hot take. International drug sourcing is a thing. I mean, it's the reason the president a couple weeks ago talked about getting favored nation status on drugs, and that's a big reason why. And he talked about the shot when he did that, and he did that because people are getting it for $100 in England, even though employers across the country are paying $1,300 a month.
I'm surprised insurers are covering this. We're talking with Patrick Moore. He's the benefits consultant at Protect, because this isn't like a necessary medical intervention. This seems to be pretty elective.
It is. So there's two different categories. Not to geek out on you,
please do.
There are the actual medically needed, and needed's a relative term, but it treats diabetes, right? That is why GLP-1s came into being. They treat diabetes, and then there's the non-diabetes version of this medication, and it treats weight loss. And so the weight loss portion is definitely more elective, and then the diabetes is being covered for the most part by insurance companies for that exact reason. Now, the secondary reason is the prices I just told you about, that $1,300 price tag. All of the PBM industry makes money on that spread. So they are making rebates on all those dollars. And so there's a significant reason why they're pushing it, because they make a lot of money on the GLP-1s.
Well, it also seems elective in the fact, Patrick, that I understand, like, if you're huge and you need a GLP-1, like if you're a Ham Planet, fine, give it to them. But I see some ladies that are like 160 and they want to get down to 140. It's like, you don't really need to take drugs to lose that last 20 pounds. I think it's just really being overused.
No, I can't tell you you're wrong. I mean, there's so many, suburban moms that are keeping up with the Joneses, and they do want to lose the last 20 pounds to look good this summer. That's definitely happening. And then there are people that are changing their lives with the drug. And so it's a huge debate right now. Like, I've had friends that had diabetes and they had cardiovascular problems. They've been on this drug. They are now super fit, don't have diabetes, and are in the best health of their life. So I
find it insane.
Complicated situation.
Well, the friends I know, the main driver of why it's effective is they just don't eat nearly as much. So we're spending all this money, we're having all these side effects and all this consternation and insurance issues for something that would be accomplished if you would just eat with a spoon and not a shovel. Pam and Boyd, did you have a comment for myself and Patrick Moore from Protect? How much are you paying?
Yeah, we are paying $150 a month.
How?
Me and my husband each $150.
Is it working?
So he's lost 60 pounds and I just started.
Okay. Is your insurance covering the rest?
No, the
Do you
insurance
have
company
a
doesn't.
hookup to a friend in Mumbai?
No, can't say that I do.
So are you using an alternate one? How are you getting it for $150?
Well, it's one of the pharmacies here over in Azle. They compound it themselves.
Okay.
And my doctor vetted them before we went there, so that's where. So I just wanted to let y'all know that
Thank you.
there are cheaper options out there.
Well, that's great input. Thank you very much, Pam and Boyd. And thank you very much, Patrick Moore from Protect, P-R-E-T-E-K-T. Appreciate it, Patrick. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Have a good one.
All right. So coming up, let's talk about a couple of things that are happening here in Texas. Number one, the Texas legislature is looking at banning social media for minors. Man, I hope that doesn't come into law, and I'll try and explain myself next. And then after we get done with that, Dallas City Council is trying to make me pull out all my hair. They just unanimously agreed to spend around $300 million on bike lanes. Yikes. 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. We'll digest both of those next. And Luke Bryan is coming to Dos Equis Pavilion June 20th. Get tickets at livenation.com. And you can listen to the morning show tomorrow for your last chance to win some free tickets to Luke Bryan. I'm James Parker, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP.